If you're thinking, what is this thing they keep mentioning? Well, fill you in.
Yeah, we've been hunting to try and find stories. This story is probably the most outrageous, depending on which way you look at it, or depending on which of the various stories you believe in. So it's day 2 today of our 3-day trip around Northern Ireland. We spent the night in Bangor. Yeah, Bangor, we're saying it right now, we think. And so we've been driving along the coast. Today, the main thing we're doing is heading to Giant's Causeway, which just looks like...
It looks unreal.
Looks absolutely epic. And so we've stopped off for our first toilet facility.
Yeah, we've come to a castle. It's called Carrickfergus Castle, and it's very castle-y. When you see quite a few castles, they all sort of start to merge, but they're still very impressive.
Like we said though, it is just like a stop along the way, but it's good that the trip is broken up in these little micro spots. We didn't even know that we were coming here, but we're always happy to have something else added on to our day. But it's just a 10-minute stop and then we're heading up to the Causeway. Stopped off in a little town and we don't actually know what this one's called, but it's just like a 5-minute stop because we're driving through. It's just this beautiful little place. It just feels so chill and quaint. You've got nothing to say because you're just taking it in.
It's beautiful.
It's so peaceful around here. It just feels really like rugged and Irish, you know?
Rugged and Irish.
Rugged and Irish.
It does.
As the fuel and gasoline truck goes behind us. It just feels really raw and nice to be out of a city. I just feel so much more like at ease and namaste when we're by the water, seeing the coastline like this.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a tiny little place. We just drove through this little little overarching bridge there of rocks. Not much going on here. See what I mean about raw? That's the real island. Loving it. You can definitely tell from the names as well that we're in Ireland. Diamond Pride, Irish Rose. I don't know what Trostan is. That one says Belfast. Warragamba Lass. Is that wee Rosie? That's the name of the place we're in, Carnlow, and we've just seen this is where Arya from Game of Thrones in season 6 was climbing out of the water. Wow, they've definitely added a lot of that. She's climbing out of the water. Was this spot right here. Some of you guys will know this. A lot of people seem to watch Game of Thrones after you saw our Dubrovnik vlogs. These are the steps. And apparently there was all these buildings and everything over there, but that's pretty awesome. So after a couple of stops along the coastline at some iconic little bays and everything that we use for Game of Thrones, we've finally made it to the Game of
Thrones on the mind, huh?
We have made it to Giant's Causeway, but the coastline is just so picturesque the whole way along.
It's unlike anything we've ever seen before.
It's just so jagged and everything, and I think even more so once we go down into the Giant's Causeway here.
So
that's going to come across.
If you're thinking, what is this thing they keep mentioning? Well, fill you in.
But yeah, because probably we've been hunting to try and find stories. this story is probably the most outrageous, depending on which way you look at it, or depending on which of the various
What you
stories
choose to believe.
you believe in. So we'll see once we go down there, and you can take your pick as to which one you personally want to believe in. Whoa.
Well,
This is insanity. Okay, one, there's obviously a lot more people here than anywhere else that we've been. But this is essentially what we're looking at, is these hexagon, is that what they're calling
Yeah.
them? Hexagon stones that look like they are man-made, but they're not. It's from the giants. We'll let you decide in a second once we go into it, but wow. Okay, I'm not actually sure which way. Oh, the bus is coming apparently. I don't know which way to go. Let's walk away from these people and go through here. Some of them are darker as well, which I can only imagine is because of the tide?
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, see, these ones are here a lot darker. So the Giant's Causeway is arguably the most popular tourist destination, or like thing to do in Northern Ireland, right?
I think we can confirm that,
I think-
judging by the amount of people around.
That's actually a
here.
very good point. We've seen a decent amount of ground that we've covered, and it's probably, well, 100% is the busiest, and it's
Yeah.
probably the most epic, so it sort of goes hand in hand.
It's understandable.
It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site as well, but the stories about how it all came to be vary massively depending on which way you swing.
Okay, so I feel like we're going to talk through which one we believe.
You go your way.
Okay, so my one is that this place was formed from a volcanic eruption, and basically there's like 40,000 hexagonal columns which have been formed from like the basalt rocks. And that makes sense. It's like lava that's
This was
solidified.
millions of years ago. What do they reckon?
Millions of years ago.
50 million years
Something
ago.
like that, yeah.
That's
So
the scientific one.
science.
But the real version is that there was a giant that was living here, and his name was Finn McCool, and he had beef with, because Scotland is literally just over here. Like, well, it's not clear enough today to be able to see, unfortunately, but it's just over here. He had beef with another giant who apparently we found out was actually half his size, so he had the scale on him. He had problems with them, and they I don't even know how the story continues. They started like throwing like rocks at each other or something, and then basically
what happened?
Finn, the Scottish
Finn,
dude, threw
you're
a
on a
rock
first
here.
name basis.
Oh, McCool built this as like a point that would help him get over to attack his enemy over there, and
His
apparently
mini giant friend.
apparently that's how it all came to be. It goes deep into this really weird story that probably is a bit irrelevant.
Well, take your pick on which one you believe.
So one quick thing, if you are coming here though, there is a £12.50 trip, or like
yeah.
all-inclusive gift shop, catch the minibus, do everything. Or you can literally walk right through under this over archway, avoid the bus, 10-minute walk down.
It's a really lovely walk too.
Completely free.
I'd recommend doing the free version.
Take the walk, take the
Yeah.
walk. And that wraps up another epic day, another bus trip.
Yes.
This has definitely been one of the highlights, I think, of all of our different adventures, because it's just so unique. It's just so out of this world. I mean, literally, because a giant built it, you know. You do have to be careful where you walk around up here. Our friends Alison and Eric, they got in trouble. They were walking in the wrong spot, and we've just seen some people that were going somewhere that they shouldn't be, and they blow whistles and everything, and you're not supposed to be going there. So there's staff floating around that blow whistles and tell you to get back into the right spot. This is difficult doing this at the same time, isn't it?
Help me.
Right.
Send help.
I think our trip back now is basically back up to the van, and we just shoot back to Bangor for the night.
Bangor.
Another day exploring tomorrow.
Thank you so much for watching.
Catch you in the comments.
Bye.
Bye.